Bitcoin is about to have a dreaded death cross. And if you don't know what a death cross is, it basically means this 50 moving average crosses the 200 moving average. This has actually happened 8 different times in Bitcoin's history over the last 10 years. So in this video, we're going to break down what are the actual facts as to what is to happen. You're going to be seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter and TikTok and everywhere else about fear-mongering of death cross. It has the name death in it, but we're going to look at the actual facts of how low did it actually go afterwards? What was the average percentage? Was it a bottom? Was it a top? And how long did it take to recover or go lower? We're going to look at all that in this video. My objective is not to convince you as to what to do. It is simply to present the data to you in an unbiased, clear way so that you can make a logical, rational decision for yourself. The first death cross that Bitcoin had in its history was September 14th, 2015. And basically, the local bottom was already in, although technically, Bitcoin did go another 1% lower. As you can see when we zoom in, it went about 1% lower from this wick right here to here, but then went on to break out and do a pretty significant move within a very, very short amount of time. So let's see. Until it actually made an all-time high was 30 days and would go on to do a 1x move in 50 days. So that is one case for the bulls. Absolutely. The death wasn't so deathly in this case, but let's see what the other 8 are looking like. Death cross number 2 was March 18th, 2008, or excuse me, March 30th, 2018. And what you'll see is the bottom was already in Bitcoin. This is probably one of the better cases for the bears. Bitcoin was already down 66% though, and the bottom was already in. This was also a local bottom. We would immediately from this point go on to do in 30 days, a 50% move to the upside. That's about 6 years of stock market gains immediately. And it would take an entire, until it took out this low that was already in, it would take Bitcoin 278 days. And even from this local bottom right here to make a new low was 220 days before it would go on to go 50% down. So it went 50% up, and then it went 50% down, but it took 230 days in order to do that. I'll give this to the bears, but barely. Death cross number 3 was October 27th, 2019. I'm going to say that this one was neutral. It was right before the C19 crash, but you had some move to the upsides, as you can see, and you had some moves to the downside. Overall, this one I'm going to say is neutral. And then you had the C19 death cross, which was right after the C19 crash, March 25th, 2020. The bottom, again, was already in. Bitcoin was already up 80% by the time that the cross happened and would go on to do another 10x from that moment in time. Just insane. So this one was absolutely just face meltingly bullish, never went lower to this very day. We have not closed a second lower from this death cross, and it took very, very short amount of time before we were actually breaking out. Death cross number 5 was June 21st, 2021, and what you'll see again, the local bottom was already in. We did not go a second lower, not for a second, for over 300 days. The low actually got taken out. 328 days, almost an entire year before the low was taken out, but also immediately. Immediately within 30 days did a 50% move before going on a 1.4x during the same time. Again, this was when alt season happened. So again, this is definitely one for the bulls. Right now we have 1 neutral, 3 for the bulls, 1 for the bear. Number 6 is 1 for the bears as well. This is probably the best case for the bears right here. This was the 12th of January, 2022. We would go on to do, as you can see, this is where we were at. So we would go on to do another 30% to the upside pretty immediately within 60 days. But then it would be taken all out and we would go down an additional 58%. So this one is the most the best case for the Bears, in my opinion. So if you're keeping track at home, that's 2 for the Bears, 1 neutral, 3 were absolutely face-meltingly bullish. And the rest of these, I'll just spoiler alert, are bullish. So this was the war in Israel. We didn't go a second lower. This was September 11, 2023. Did not go a second lower, not for a second, to this very day. Broke out within 30 days and immediately went on to do a 2x. Same thing for this one right here. This was August the 7th, right after Japan cut their rates. Again, the bottom was already in, and we broke out within 30 days and would go on to do another 1x. So out of all of the 8 times that it's happened, 5 of them were outright bullish. 1 was neutral. 1 was, you could go either way with it. I'll give it to the Bears, but it went 50% to the upside before going 50% to the downside almost an entire year later. But that was number 2, of course. But I'll give it to the Bears. So 2 were bearish, 5 were bullish, 1 was neutral. And I just want to give you the correct information because I think there's going to be a lot of fear mongering. And I don't want you guys to make decisions based out of fear. If you need to sell something, if you need to buy something, it should be because this is the rational, logical conclusion that you have come to, not a decision out of emotion. So I just thought I would make this video preemptively before all this wild nonsense starts to take place. If this video brought you any value, make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. Peace.